In this episode of Falmouth in Focus, we'll give you an update on the spread of the COVID-19 virus, stop by the Falmouth Village Green for a silent vigil honoring the memory of George Floyd, and hear messages of hope from the Falmouth High School Class of 2020. All this and much more on this episode of Falmouth in Focus. Hello and welcome to Falmouth in Focus, FCTV's current affairs program. I'm your host, Michael Kasparian. It's been 3 months since our last episode back in March, and since then, the spread of the COVID-19 virus has disrupted all aspects of our life in Falmouth and around the world. With businesses in Massachusetts gradually reopening now, and more visitors migrating to vacation spots like Falmouth, it is important that we follow guidance from our local Board of Health to help prevent further spread of the virus. Let's hear from Scott McGann, Falmouth's health agent.
Hi, this is Scott McGann, your health agent here in Falmouth. And one of the things that I've been asked to talk about is sort of the future of COVID and where we're at. If you want a lot of detail, you can go on our weekly, I do a weekly spot here at FCTV. If you want to know what's going to happen in the future, I wish I would know. I mean, it's really difficult to know, when phase 2 and phase 3 we're in phase 2, but when step 2 of phase 2 happens, or when step 3, and it's really going to be based on the metrics and the data of the cases. And the best way to do it, if you want to do this on your own, is to go to the Mass Department of Public Health's COVID website. They give you a daily update, and on the front page, it gives you, as you can see here, a red light, yellow and green, and you want to be more green and definitely don't want to be red. So you just want the trends, and it's really going to be about how many cases we have, how many hospitalizations, how many deaths, what our percent positivity rate is. And as those metrics continue on a downward spiral, more and more things will open up. At the health department, even today, we got several calls about, I'm about to do my summer rental, and I want to come down mid-July, what's going to be open? I can't answer that. So I don't know what's going to happen. If we went to a lot of counts and the state had high counts, we might go back to phase 1. I don't know. My guess is if we continue on this trajectory, we could possibly at some time late July be in phase 3, which would be more relaxed seating requirements in restaurants, a few more things open, museums and so forth, and a few things here and there. So where we're going to be and what the future is going to be is really going to be how well we do as a people in social distancing and following the rules. If we remain 6 feet apart and we don't, we limit our sort of cheating of the social distancing guidelines, I think, as a society we'll get better. But we're only going to be as good as all the different towns and all the different sort of people that are out there doing it. So we're only going to be as good as our performance on social distancing, so to speak. So it's really hard for me to tell you whether, where we're going to be at any given point. I think, personally, getting a treatment is really big. These antivirals and different things with antibody treatments is going to be a key. We talk a lot about vaccines, but vaccines do take time, as does treatments. And hopefully we get to a point where we have a suitable treatment that the death rate and the rate of hospitalizations are no more, maybe slightly higher than what we currently get every year with the flu. If we could get it to that, then we could, ideally get back to sort of a true normal. So I'm hoping for a treatment, quickly as possible, or a regimen of multiple different sort of things. You hear a lot about vaccines and how vaccines will happen, and I've heard, maybe by the end of the year we can start getting some, and I hope so. But, with the absence of that, the sort of social distancing, phasing, getting into different phases, maybe unfortunately having to go back a phase is all possible. And it's all basically going to be on the data. So if you're paying attention to the data, you like to watch, it's just this one page that I have up in front here. You want to see the green lights and you don't want to see the red lights. And so that's where I wish I had a better idea of where we're going to be at any time in the future. It's been really difficult on everybody, especially, restaurant owners or retailers or highly susceptible people that are afraid to go out. And it's been a real difficult thing. And, eventually we'll get through it. I just, it's hard for me to tell you when. But keep looking at the data trends and just keep staying the course with social distancing. And I think eventually things will work out. Thanks.
Thanks to Jeff Wyman for that important report. The FCTV website is your local resource for the latest information on the COVID-19 spread and recovery period, which includes links to local and state information on the phases of reopening as well as safety information. The untimely death of Minneapolis resident George Floyd on May 25th has reignited many feelings of sorrow and anger throughout the globe. Here in Falmouth, the Village Green was a location for a silent vigil on May 31st to confront racism and honor the memory of George Floyd.
Saturday, a week ago, I was conducting a Torah study here for my congregation on Zoom, and I received a text from Reverend Nell Fields, who is the pastor of Wacoit Congregational Church, asking if I was free to talk. So when I finished teaching, I called Nell and she said, I am hearing lots of people asking if there's going to be a vigil, a demonstration in reaction to the death of George Floyd. And so Nell Fields and I simply made the decision that we needed to do something, and we needed to do it quickly. So that was Saturday morning. Within about an hour, we had decided that we would call together for a silent vigil, anyone who could get the message, for Sunday afternoon at 4 p.m. And we made the conscious decision to make it a silent vigil. Certainly in my mind, I have been feeling overwhelmed by words, meaningful words, impassioned words, words from people who may have been motivated because they like the sound of their own voice, things I've been reading, hearing. I have found it overwhelming. And I felt that bringing people together for a period of silence would in certain ways be far more eloquent than what anybody might be able to say. Reverend Fields took it upon herself to reach out to Chief Dunn of the Falmouth Police Department and inform him that we were intending to do this. And he was very gracious and accommodating. He himself was there that afternoon. But we called it for 4 p.m. on that Sunday at the Village Green. So the core of it was that 15 minutes of silence. People were pretty much facing in one direction, although we were gathered all around the green. And there's something very powerful about virtually everyone being masked. And so you're obviously denied the opportunity to see people's facial expressions to a large extent. And so I think that sort of amplified the sense of and the power of standing in silence. Looking at the crowd that assembled, I felt that it was fairly reflective of what I understand the Cape demographic to be. Largely white, although there were some people of color. But I was encouraged by what really runs against the demographic. There were quite a few young people there. Many people, myself included, are looking for guidance, direction. How do we channel the concern? How do we channel the anguish, the pain, in ways that we hope will actually accomplish something? And I think those remain unanswered questions for many of us. The response to that call, I found tremendously reassuring, and I think speaks well of, and it really was the Upper Cape community. I can't say that this was strictly a Falmouth event. I think it reflected a need, and it was an encouraging expression of concern.
Thanks to Andrew Richards and John Mortensen for that coverage. It's time now for 3 things from Town Hall, FCTV's condensed version of the takeaways from recent municipal meetings. Selections are chosen based on community impact.
The Select Board continues to meet regularly with virtual meetings throughout the COVID-19 pandemic. In their last meeting on Monday night, the board met with the Finance Committee to discuss fund transfers for the fiscal year 20 and fiscal year 21 budgets. After presenting fund transfers from the health insurance and reductions in some revenue estimates, both boards voted to approve the changes in the fiscal year 20 and fiscal year 21 budgets.
Okay, any other questions from anyone else before we have a motion? Okay, so from the Board of Selectmen, go ahead, Doug.
I would move that I would make a motion to move $666,500 from health insurance the line items as listed by the finance director.
The Select Board also continued to appoint volunteers to several committees and commissions in town. The Select Board successfully filled seats on the following regulatory boards: the Board of Health, the Conservation Commission, and the Zoning Board of Appeals. The non-regulatory appointments the board voted volunteers to were Affirmative Action Committee, Commission on Substance Abuse, Cultural Council, Edward Marks Building Advisory Committee, Golf Advisory Committee, Historical Commission, and the Water Quality Management Committee.
Second.
Okay. Any further, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, for those committees aside from water quality and and community preservation, all those in favor, English Braga, aye. Brown?
Brown, aye.
Okay, Taylor?
Aye.
Patterson?
Patterson, aye.
Jones?
Jones, aye.
The Select Board also discussed further the COVID-19 situation in Falmouth. In this particular meeting, the board had discussions regarding the planned cancellation of the traditional recreational summer camp and alternative programming. In addition, the board discussed the status of the expedited temporary permit license process for outdoor restaurant seating.
Yes.
Sure.
All right, if you look at the confirmed test today, the number for the state was 58.
Wow.
We've been averaging mainly between 200 and 400 over the past week or so. I don't know if you guys get a chance to go on that every day. If you don't, and anybody's in the audience, at 4 o'clock on the state's DPH website, you can get COVID updates. So that's the lowest number in quite some time. So Falmouth's numbers are right around 195. We had gone about 2 weeks roughly without much activity, and we've had a little bit over the end of the week, but nothing that didn't make sense. There was a couple long-term cares and there was a couple for the first time in a couple of weeks that were not long-term care related, but they were related, so to speak. So it gives that number right around 195. So, we're still right around 12-13% of the county's numbers. And so, I think we're still we're in a good spot, and we have been in a good spot for a few weeks now.
To see the meetings in their entirety, check out Government Channel 15's program schedule at fctv.org. We're going to take a quick break, and when we return, we'll check in with a couple of Falmouth eateries to find out how they've modified their operating plans because of the COVID-19 virus. Stay with us.
Falmouth Community Television is an essential public service. During this challenging time, we've been working hard to keep you informed.
By bringing you the latest information you've come to expect.
In our town and in the world around us.
So check out our website or our Facebook page.
Or Public Channel 13, Educational Channel 14, or our Government Channel 15.
For video updates from our local and state officials.
Local town meetings.
And special member and staff programming.
And we want to hear from you, too.
Send us your short video for our series, Sharing Your Stories.
Or participate in community conversation series online.
So stay healthy, stay safe, stay strong.
And stay engaged with FCTV.
Because FCTV cares.
FCTV cares. Because
FCTV cares
about you.
Welcome back. Eat Your Heart Out Cafe and Gourmet Market and Dogs and Hogs, both located on Main Street in Falmouth, are just two of the many local businesses that have been dramatically affected by the COVID-19 shutdown. With restrictions easing here in the Bay State, both eateries have had to adjust their operating procedures to comply with the health regulations.
How you doing today? My name is Sean Daly. I am the chef owner of Eat Your Heart Out Cafe and Gourmet Market here at 587 Main Street. We're trying to adapt to this COVID-19 over the past 3 or 4 months. Our catering business took a pretty good hit because of the large capacity of crowds that we do. We are now seating outside as of Monday. We are 6 feet apart on our tables here. No food service sitting inside yet. But we're full service, sandwiches, soups, salads, prepared foods. We're adapting to a lot of pickup and drop-off catering. So what we're doing is we're doing barbecue kits to go. We're doing a lot of, like I said, pickup marinated meats, a lot of our side salads and things like that. We're a farm-to-table operation, so on Thursdays I like to go down to the farmers market and get some things, give them some commerce down at the band shell there to sort of get local and fresh. I've had my catering company for 20 years, and I just opened up, my wife and I, Layla, just opened this up September 10th of last year. And we've had some struggles here due to road work and things like that. But we've had a lot of people reach out to us. We've done a ton of meals for the community, the elderly housing, our municipalities such as fire, police, Falmouth Hospital, Cape Cod Hospital. So we've had a lot of silent donations, things like that. There's been a great outpouring of my fellow restaurateurs in town, fellow retail business owners, small business owners like myself, that have just really stepped up and, would come in and, just buy a sandwich and, give a nice generous tip to the girls. We're just, we're going to be going to a full schedule here, probably the third week in June. We are going to be open from 8 in the morning till 6 o'clock at night, Monday through Friday, Saturdays and Sundays from 8 to 2. I am going to be opening up my breakfast sandwiches, breakfast burritos, fresh fruit, fresh pastries, organic coffee, things like that. So we're looking forward to getting onto that new chapter here, and we'll be doing a mailing of menus out to the community the third week in June to sort of, get us a little bit more on the map here and people know where we're at.
Hi, I'm Mike Bullard, owner of Dogs and Hogs at 781 Main Street here in Falmouth, Mass. And where I am, I'm in front of our mobile trailer that we take down to the beach. And so during this pandemic thing, what we did is we had to downsize in the store. We are a takeout business, but we brought the trailer out front so we would eliminate the people to go inside and be next to each other. So we came in April, and I said, this trailer needs to be out front. And ever since then, it's been going. People have been happy to come outside and order their food rather than go inside. Now we did set it up so we would have barbecue inside. So if anybody comes in just to get barbecue, they can still get it for takeout, which would be inside. Linda's inside. She'll take care of the orders. We've eliminated our catering business to just basically pick up for small parties of 10 or 20 people, if that's the case. And but this is how we're operating now. This is also our training location for our beaches. So we bring in new employees, we'll train them here, and then we'll send them off to either surf drive or they'll work here in the trailer at the Heights Beach. So that's how we've tried to overcome this situation, and we wanted everybody to be safe. We wanted the town to know that we're operating to be safe, and that's pretty much where we're at right now. We'll be moving soon, and we'll be setting up at the beaches with all the precautions necessary that we have to do. So we hope you'll come down and see us, and we look forward to a good summer with you. We are takeout, and we're here at Dogs and Hogs for you.
Stay tuned to FCTV and Falmouth in Focus in the months ahead for more stories about Falmouth's businesses and how they are adapting to the ever-changing restrictions due to COVID-19. Thanks to Andrew Richards for that story. While the coronavirus has led to many cancellations around town, the Falmouth Fireworks Committee has found a new way to help the community. Let's get an update from some of the board members.
We're in a tough time right now where the community has always supported the Falmouth Fireworks, and we are giving back because we're not able to have the fireworks this year, and we figured giving back to the community that has supported us over the years is where we wanted to give back, and it went to Falmouth Cares. We usually spend from April to July 1st is where we really raise the bulk of our money for the fireworks, and this year we're not able to. So we are going to move forward in the fall and go out and start fundraising. But right now, it's not about fundraising. It's about helping the community and getting us all back on our feet. And that's our first priority.
It's affecting so many people in such a variety of ways, whether it's, all of their hometown traditions, parades, whether it be Memorial Day or parades, old homecomings, and surely in Falmouth, where you depend on so much tourism, and giving them, all the people that visit the area, something to do, and it's difficult. And so what we wanted to do is, working closely with the committee, is provide a virtual fireworks display. The one that we have put together, that we've remastered, and when I say remastered, it's in 4K, so we're able to provide that, as well as we gave a short introduction as a tribute to the community, because we're not able to have any fireworks, and being able to provide just a small introduction that said, unfortunately, we cannot be there this year, but we're providing this display on behalf of the Falmouth Fireworks Committee and our company.
You may not be able to catch the fireworks at the beach this year, but you can still catch them online, and also check out their new commemorative book about the history of the Falmouth Fireworks. FCTV will be airing a previously recorded fireworks display at 9 p.m. on the 4th. Thanks to Alan Russell for that story. The College Light Opera Company's typical performance season has been put on hold this summer because of the COVID-19 virus. So the students who would have normally been preparing for performances on stage have instead shifted gears to the virtual world of theatrical experience. Mark Pearson, CLOC's executive and artistic director, checked in with us via Zoom to tell us about Digital CLOC.
So typically we have 75 students or recent graduates from across the country who are studying performing arts, so theater, singers. We have 32 members of the vocal company. We have 18 orchestra members. In addition, we have costume technicians, scenic technicians, designers, costume design, set design, lighting design, as well as a staff of business students. So that means a typical summer would involve a range of shows, and they'll perform 6 performances a week, and then they would repeat every week a new show for 9 weeks. This year's very different. This will be the first year in our history, over 50 years, where there will be no live performances. So this summer is going to be all virtual. What we came up with was a program creating what we're calling Digital CLOC, which is not a replacement for CLOC. It is not a replacement for live theater, but it is a series of master classes, basically for each department, which would then result in content for 9 broadcasts that we would be able to do over the course of what would have been our traditional CLOC season.
Please pull a few strings for the melody. Don't care if the solo is teeny.
You know, we're not taking Pirates of Penzance and doing that virtually, because that is just impossible for us to do. But what we are doing is offering our students various challenges and projects each week that then will be recorded and edited and put together into a one of these 9 weekly broadcasts that we're planning on showing on our Facebook page, and also together with FCTV, hopefully. The videos are really just a snippet, or a quick look into what's happening. This really comes down to like our mission, and getting to the root of our mission, which is really to be a training ground. And while we provide very good world-class entertainment, because we gather some of the best students from around the country, that's actually not our mission. Our mission is to provide a place for them to work and improve themselves and prepare themselves for what will hopefully be a career in this field. And I keep saying this to the staff, but we're building the bicycle while we're riding it. And that's scary, but it's also exciting. And I think that the students have already shown interest in that, and they've already come up with some really great ideas and suggestions.
Check out collegelateoperacompany.com to learn more about this great local organization and what they have planned this season. We're going to take a break to hear about a pair of adoptable cats from People for Cats. And when we return, we'll join Ryan Collins for some fly fishing. Stay with us.
Timmy is a handsome brown and white tabby domestic short-hair male. He's 4 years old and has a mackerel tabby coat pattern, liberally accented with snow white fur on his underside. He's a total love bug who wants to be your best friend and all-around pal. He's also known to be quite talkative and lets you know what he wants. Timmy came to PFC along with his sister Tina when their previous owner could no longer care for them. Timmy has the habit of liking to ride around on your shoulder and view the world from up high. Tina is an adorable brown tabby domestic short-hair female. This 4-year-old lady sports a classic bullseye tabby coat pattern on her back and sides and snow white fur on her underside. She also has a cute brown smudge on her muzzle. She's slightly more independent than her outgoing brother, but she's also very social and friendly. Timmy and Tina are a bonded pair and will only be adopted out together. These two should be the only cats in the household. People for Cats are still closed to the public, but have recently been conducting a few contact-free adoptions by appointment. Prospective adopters should contact them at 508-540-5654 with a bit about themselves, their telephone number, and email address. After a telephone interview, and if it looks like a good match, an appointment will be made to view the cat outside the shelter and potentially adopt it.
Welcome back. It's time for this month's fishing segment from My Fishing Cape Cod. Let's join Ryan Collins for some fly fishing.
The tidal pool right over here to the right on the drone just, I don't know what to, it's breathtaking right now.
Now should pull in a lot of fish. Can't go wrong with a EP style bait fish, white, silver. And you always want to tie a loop knot to your fly because it gives a lot more movement than a regular fisherman's knot. And that loop is a big difference. We got an incoming tide here, so every minute this tide's getting stronger and stronger. Obviously stripers love that moving tide, gets the bait moving around. And we're just fan casting, not casting in the same spot, but fan casting this beachfront here as the tide increases. And we found a bunch of schoolies here, and with a sinking line you can get down pretty deep. And incoming tides are usually some of my favorite to fish just because it's pulling the bait and the big fish towards you. Whereas a lot of times on the outgoing, although it can be great fishing, it's inevitably pulling everything away from you. So just walking this beachfront, fan casting, white, oh, there it is. White EP bait fish, you can't beat it. White and blue, green and blue. And as the current picks up, more and more fish will be here. All right, buddy. All right. This just goes to show even the small fish eat big flies. Off he goes.
Thanks to Ryan Collins from My Fishing Cape Cod for that segment. The graphic arts students at Falmouth High School, inspired by recent events and led by teacher Larissa Hart, have produced a special video of Messages of Hope for the class of 2020. Let's take a look. Thanks to the Falmouth High School students and their teacher for that inspiring video. During this time of uncertainty, we hope all viewers remain safe and vigilant against the spread of COVID-19, practice social distancing, and follow the guidelines from our local Board of Health. Stay tuned to FCTV to remain connected to our local community as we continue to bring you the latest developments and news through our local coverage. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and website, and stay tuned to channels 13, 14, and 15. And FCTV wants to remind you that television can be as easy as hitting record on your smartphone. We'd like to invite all Falmouth residents and visitors to share their slice of life with us. Email us your photos and videos or upload them to Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram using the hashtag MyFalmouth or Falmouth in Focus to be featured on the show. Thank you to our most recent contributors. We leave you now with the sights and sounds from Morse Pond School as the mother duck and her ducklings make the annual trek through the school to the pond. Thank you for watching Falmouth in Focus. We'll see you next time.